Hi everyone, welcome to this Q&A from the University of Glasgow. I am Kyle Blaine. I'm part of the international recruitment team here at the university, and I am joined today by Rina and Karina, and I will let them introduce themselves. Rina, if you want to go ahead.
Hey everyone, I'm Rina. I'm the president of the Students' Representative Council, also known as the SRC.
And Katrina?
Hi there everyone, I'm Katrina. I'm from the Careers Service. I'm one of the careers managers there, and I'll be telling you a bit more in a wee while about how the Careers Service supports you while you're here at university.
Amazing. So we are here today. Our colleague Monica from External Relations, she may well join us. I think she may be having a few technical issues at the minute. But we are, speak of the devil, there you go.
Hi everybody, now you know it's live. So Kyle, thank you for stepping in, but hello and welcome to our live Q&A for our new undergraduate and postgraduate students. I'm Monica from External Relations at the University of Glasgow, and I am absolutely delighted to be able to welcome you to today's session. So I know that we've got students tuning in from across the world, so it's great that you've been able to join us today. We'll be live with you for the next hour, and we'll try and get through as many of your questions as we possibly can in that time. And remember, they can also pop questions into the comments. So please do that if you've got any questions at all. And we'll try and get through as many questions today as we possibly can. So before we start, I'm just going to allow the panel to introduce themselves, unless they've already done that.
I think we've done a quick run round. So there's Rina from the Student Representative Council, Katrina from the Career Centre, and myself from the recruitment team, Monica. I think we might have a few difficulties again. That's okay. What we'll do is we are going to move on. So there's been a fair few questions around accommodation coming through. And I just wanted to give a quick update for those people who have applied for university accommodation but haven't actually heard back yet. The truth is that the allocations team are currently working to get offers sent through to undergraduate students who applied before the 14th of July and aim to respond as quickly as possible. So if you applied after the 14th of July or you're a postgraduate student, our advice is that we are telling all of those students who applied after the 14th of July or our postgraduate students to have a look on our FAQs on our website. So make sure that you have a look there. If you applied before that deadline, you should be looking to get an offer soon. So if you're undergraduate or if you're undergraduate and applied before the deadline, you should be getting an email or an offer from our accommodation team as soon as they can get it out to you. But otherwise, take a look on our FAQs, and as you'll see, there are going to be constant websites scrolling along the bottom of the screen. So take a note of them, and all of the information that we say will hopefully match up with what's coming there. So we're going to try and get the really important websites out to you today as well. Fab, Monica. I'll hand back over to you if you want. Okay,
brilliant. So I'm assuming we've just spoken a little bit about accommodation while I was out of the chat.
Yeah.
So Kyle, I'm actually going to stick with you if that's okay, because we've had lots and lots of questions coming in, not just about kind of finding out about your offer of accommodation, but also the support that will be in place if you do have an offer for our university accommodation, particularly from those students where it's going to be their first time living away from home. So Kyle, could you tell us a little bit about the support that's in place?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do absolutely everything that we can to make sure that your transition from living wherever you are in the world to university accommodation is as smooth as it possibly can be. And we've got a ton of support in place to make sure that you're well looked after when you get to Glasgow. So first off, there are our residence life teams. They are current students and they actually live on site, and they provide out-of-hours support to residents, to all of our residents in all of our residences. The Residence Life team, they can help with anything from settling you into university life, accessing medical help, emergency and out of hours, any repairs. So if anything happens in your flat, you can reach out to that team as well. They're also a really important team because they organise your social events as well. So they organise regular events for you to meet new people, experience what Glasgow and what Scotland has to offer, and they're really just good points of advice. They are current students, so they've lived what you're living, so they're really good points of contact if you have any questions at all, be it about halls or university life in general. On top of them, we've got our resident site teams. They're on hand during the day to answer any questions that you have, and we also have our university security teams as well. Just a big shout out to our Safe Zone app. So this is a prize-winning app that the University of Glasgow has, and it's monitored 24 hours a day. So it's really worth downloading it, probably before you get to Glasgow, because if you are on campus or you're in your residence or you're going between the two or you're on a trip or anywhere else, you can check in and say that you're due to be somewhere. And if you don't quite check out, someone will give you a quick call just to check that you're okay. So the Safe Zone app is really important, and it keeps everyone on campus really safe. So whatever happens, you really don't have to be alone, and there's support right across the piece as well as in your pocket. So there you go.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Kyle. We've also had quite a few questions coming in asking about what learning and teaching will look like in the coming term, especially around kind of COVID restrictions and the impact that that could have. And it's just to really say that if everybody's happy, I can take this one, that there's no official kind of restrictions or COVID restrictions in place in Scotland anymore. So there shouldn't really be an impact on your learning and teaching. We're fully expecting all of our teaching to be back to in person. All of our social activities are also back. So really, just if anybody has any concerns about that, it's just to make you aware that really it's back to normal and that there shouldn't be any impact at all. So if for anybody who has had any of those concerns, hopefully that's taking care of them. We've also had Kyle, I'm really sorry, I'm going to stick with you for it again, so apologies for just constantly coming back to you, but we've had lots of questions about students being worried that what happens if they can't make it in time, if they can't make it to Glasgow in time for their programme start date. So do you have any advice about that?
Yeah, so the first place to check is on all of our offer holders pages as well as our programme pages online. You'll be able to see 3 dates. Now, the first one is the start date of your programme. That one's pretty self-explanatory. There's also the latest enrolment date, and there's the latest arrival date as well. The latest enrolment date, now that's the last possible date you can enroll online to start your studies, and we really encourage you to complete enrolment as early as you possibly can, because it's going to let you build your timetable and get access to your learning materials as well. It is true though that if you are late to enrol, you won't be able to start your studies with us in Glasgow. So it's a really important date that you need to pay attention to. You need to make sure that you enrol before your latest enrolment date for your course. The final date is the latest arrival date. The latest date of arrival, now this is only really for our international students who might be affected by visa delays or travel restrictions, and who might not be able to arrive in Glasgow on time for the programme starting. Now, it's really important that if you are going to arrive late, that you have secured accommodation. So it's really important that you don't arrive in Glasgow not having accommodation sorted out, be it private or university accommodation. And it's really important that if you are going to arrive later, that you have registered and enrolled online by that latest enrolment date that I just mentioned. Okay, and that's yet again so that you can build your timetable and you've got all of your programme's learning materials. One thing to note is if you're not arriving in Glasgow on time to start your course, the chances are you're not going to have access to live lectures. So it'll just be the learning materials that you can catch virtually. And if you are going to be late, we really want you to let us know. You can find our delayed arrival form on our offer holders web pages. And it's also been emailed to all of our international students too. So if you're not able, because of visas or because of travel restrictions, to arrive in Glasgow on time for your start date, please fill in that delayed arrival form so that we know and your school knows and the people who are going to be teaching you also are aware that you might not be in Glasgow for the very start of your programme.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kyle. There's also been a few questions coming in asking about admissions and specifically people asking about CAS. So again, I'm quite happy to take this one. And it's just to give everybody a little bit of an update on where we are with this. So our admissions team are currently aiming to issue CAS within 5 working days of you accepting your unconditional offer, and also provided that any of your deposits have been paid. So it's 5 working days that we're trying to turn that around in just now. I'm also going to just flag a few, since we're talking about admissions and CAS, I'm just going to flag a few key dates that everybody should be aware of in terms of registration and enrolment. So just to say that any documentation for your CAS should be submitted by Friday, the 26th of August. So that's tomorrow. So that's really, really important. So if you've yet to submit that documentation, please do so as soon as you possibly can. The last CAS will be issued on Friday, the 2nd of September. And for those of you that have applied for January entry CAS, we will start to issue these from early October. Okay, so just be aware that if you've issued for the January start, these won't be issued until October. In terms of registration and enrolment, it is now open, so you can start to register and enroll as soon as you receive your access, your student account email. So as soon as you have that email, you are more than welcome to start the registration and enrolment process online. One thing to note is that you're going to have to complete this process by the 30th of September. So just keep that in mind. It's maybe a good idea just to take a wee note of that date, that you have to complete your registration enrolment by the 30th of September. Okay, so as soon as you get that email, I'll just start that process. It is super, super easy. So just keep that in mind. Kyle, I'm going to come back to you again. I'm really, really sorry. I'm just going to keep coming back for the first bit. We've had lots of questions about just preparing for university in general, like what can students do to prepare for the start of term? Are there any resources they should be accessing? You know, are there any web pages that we should be pointing them to?
Yeah, so I've already mentioned them, but our new students' web pages, they really are the key to all of the information that you're going to need before you arrive in Glasgow. On them, you'll find a checklist of all the things that you need to think about before you get to Glasgow. So that's things like registering and enrolling. There's a list of apps that might be useful for you to download. So that's things like the UofG Life app. So that's our university app. It shows things like room bookings, and you can put your timetable on there too. Our sport app, and the UofG Sport app, if you're looking to join the gym or see how busy the gym might be, you can do that from that app as well as that Safe Zone app, which I think it's really important that all of our new students download before they arrive on campus. The checklist also includes things that you would want to do after you arrive. So that's things like registering with a doctor. We have a GP's practice here on campus, so it's a really easy system. You just need to make sure that you've done it by the time that you arrive and that you've started your classes. There's also information on that checklist around Freshers Week and the Student Representative Council and our two students associations and the events that will be going on over the next few weeks for all of the students who are arriving in Glasgow, as well as our Welcome Week as well. If you do want to find out any more tips from our current students, there's loads and loads to see on our YouTube channel. That includes things like things to pack in your suitcase, some top tips from students who have done it over the last few years, transport in and out of Glasgow, that's a big question that we get, and also some of the best day trips as well. So once you're actually in Glasgow and you've explored Glasgow, how do you get around and see the rest of Scotland, and what are the best parts of Scotland and the UK to see? There's loads of information, as I say, on our YouTube channel, and that's built by current students.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And actually, it's a really nice link to some of the other questions that we've been getting about more of the kind of social side of things. So a lot of people looking forward to the social side of being a student, as you absolutely should. So Raina, if I can come to you for this question, because we've had lots of questions from students about the SRC, what the SRC is, and also are there any other student bodies, and what is it that you actually do within the university?
Thank you. Yeah, of course. So the Students Representative Council, so the SRC that I am part of, is one of the 4 student bodies on campus, which I know can get a bit confusing, but please bear with me. So as our name reveals, we are the representative body on campus. So we have a council of over 40 student members who represent student interest in various university meetings and committees to make sure that the student voice is always heard in decisions that are made that affect students. Alongside representation, our remit covers the delivery of various services and activities. So for example, we have our advice center where trained advice workers offer confidential advice to students on various issues that they might face during their time at university. This includes financial advice and tips for flat hunting, for example. We also have a volunteering service that connects our students with local charities and offers the opportunity for our students to gain new skills and experiences while connecting with the wider Glasgow community. And on the top of all this, we organize a range of events and campaigns throughout the year. For example, at the moment, we are working hard to put together our Welcome Week that takes place in September, and events for Black History Month that takes place in October. I know that's quite a lot of information, but you can read more about us on our website that you will see on the screen throughout this session. And as I mentioned, there are actually 4 student bodies on campus, which is a very unique trait to Glasgow University. So we have 2 social unions, the Glasgow University Union, also known as GUU, and the Queen Margaret Union, also known as QMU. They also organize events throughout the year and provide social space for students and clubs and societies, and their memberships are free and available to all students. And finally, we have our sports association, GUSA, who are in charge of all of our amazing sports clubs and anything to do with sports at university. And they also run a gym on campus, so definitely check that out when you come here.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And if I can stick with you just for a second, because we're getting lots of questions about Freshers Week. So basically, will we be holding a Freshers Week, and what will that look like? What are some of the activities that will be on offer?
Yeah, of course. We are indeed organizing a Freshers Week. So the SRC and GUSA are teaming up to run Welcome Week, which consists of a wide range of daytime and evening events that are open to all of our students. So regardless whether you are new or returning or undergraduate or postgraduate, all of our events are for you. And all of these events are completely free of charge as well. So you don't have to worry about that at all. And you can find our events on the websites that are showed on the screen. So do go check them out. And then our other 2 student bodies, so the GUU and QMU, are having put together a selection of events under their Freshers Week branding and the name. So their daytime events are open to all students, but evening events, so their themed club nights between Monday the 12th of September and Friday the 16th of September are only for new students. Though I hope that you note that this includes new postgraduate students as well as exchange students.
Amazing. You've actually preempted my next question, because we've had a few postgraduate students asking if they can get involved, and they absolutely can. It's for all of our new students. So brilliant. If I can just stick with you again, it's lots of questions about clubs and societies. So what kind of clubs and societies do we have at the university? And also, how would students get involved if they wanted to join any of those?
Yeah, that's another great question. Clubs and societies are definitely such an important part of student life, especially at Glasgow. I think we have such a unique student community and groups of societies and clubs here. So there are over 300 societies that are affiliated with the SRC, and you can find them all on our website that you can see on the screen there. And all the societies that we have, they're very approachable and friendly. So genuinely just reach out to them if you're interested, and look them up on social media as well. I would also like to highlight our Welcome Fair that takes place on Tuesday and Wednesday of Welcome Week. So I believe that's the 13th and 14th of September, which is where most of our clubs and societies come together. And that is an opportunity for all of our students to meet the groups in person and chat to them more about everything they do, and maybe even find a society that you never would have thought even existed, because I can guarantee you in the 300 societies that we have, there will definitely be ones that you will be very surprised by. And I also want to highlight that our clubs and societies are super welcoming. And even if you don't manage to go to some of the first events, you can always join later on in the year as well. So the doors are always open for new members. And then all of our sports clubs you can find on the GUSA website, and also on the sports fair during Welcome Week.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And we really do have a huge number of student societies and clubs. And if you are looking for one that doesn't exist, you can set it up. So even if we don't offer it, you can be the first student to put it in place. So it is something to keep in mind, that there really is something for everyone. Now, Kyle, if I can come back to you just for a second, because I know that at Glasgow we offer a huge range of student supports to make sure that our students have the best possible experience that they can have with us. Would you be able to talk about some of the student support that's available? Because we've had quite a few questions asking about that student support and what's available at Glasgow.
Yeah, for sure. So it can sound like a bit of a cliche, but we really do mean it when we say that we try to support our students from application all the way through to graduation, and sometimes beyond that as well. Nobody knows what's going to happen over the course of your time at university, so we just make sure that the support is in place for any of those hurdles that pop up throughout your time studying with us. So on top of the amazing support that's offered by the Student Representative Council and Rina and her team, there is loads of support across the university. So that's support like our disability service, our counselling services, Leeds, they offer exam prep and essay writing help. There's also our multi-faith chaplaincy. It's in a beautiful chapel right in the centre of our campus. There is also within your own subject areas, student support officers, and we also have a central financial aid team as well. A lot of this support is based in one central space, and that's in the Fraser building, which is right opposite the main building on campus. It's the big green building. You can't miss it when you arrive. It's also where our doctor's surgery is based as well. So if you're really struggling for where to reach out to, or you have any questions at all, that is where our student services inquiry team, the one-stop shop, as it were, for help and support can be found. So when you arrive, make sure that when you're looking around our nice, beautiful old buildings, you take a look across the street at the big green building, because that's where a lot of our student support is based as well. So yeah, that's a big tip, is just to make sure that you get into the Fraser building, have a look and see where you can go for help as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I think it's really important to highlight just how much support is available for students, because I think a lot of the time when you come to university, we put such an emphasis on independent learning that you have this kind of perception that actually it means that you have to do everything yourself. But the reality is that there are lots and lots of people at the university whose job it is to help and support you through your studies and beyond. So if you're at any point struggling during your studies, please do reach out, because even if the person you ask doesn't know how to help, they will know who to ask to get you that help. So it's just something to absolutely keep in mind about being a student, that the support is always there if you need it. Katrina, if I could bring you in, because we've had a few questions, speaking of kind of support, about our career service. So could you just tell us a little bit about the career service at the university?
Yeah, of course. And I think the web address will be running along in the ticker tape section in a wee while. So you can have a look on our website to find out a bit more about what we do. If you forget that, you'll find it on the university website. But we're here to support you with all aspects of progressing your career. So whether that's making decisions and planning your career, but also once you've decided what you want to do, finding opportunities, applying for opportunities, going for interviews, assessment centres, all of that stuff, which can be quite intimidating, quite stressful, but we are here to make it a bit easier, hopefully. So there's lots of information on the website. That includes online courses that you can go through yourself, which I think you'll find really useful. And you'll find access on there to Glasgow Careers, which is our portal that you can go into. And I'll tell you a wee bit more about that in a minute. What I will say is that you'll only have access to that once you've enrolled. And once that's happened, your data will be imported into there, so you don't have to register for it. It'll be automatically done, and you can sign in with your GUID. And once you're in there, you'll find that you can book one-to-ones that we offer. They are very popular, so you won't necessarily get one straight away, but they are available every week. We also have twice a week, running from September through all semesters, we have masterclasses. Now, we're actually keeping those online because we've found that people prefer to do it online. The number of people who attend and who book up is much, much higher than when we did them face-to-face. Possibly it's a little bit less scary and people are happy asking questions. But we run that on lots of different topics. So that would be the first thing to do. You want to find out a bit more about how to put together a CV, prepare for interviews, think about how to just get started with your career. Lots of different topics, LinkedIn and assessment centres and everything else. Also on there you'll find vacancies, but I think I'm going to be telling you about that a bit more in a minute, and also details about all the events. So there are lots of events throughout both semesters. That includes our career fairs, which some of them are sector specific, that cover a range including law, engineering, technology, science, third sector, arts and cultural sector, and others besides. And also a lot of employer events where employers will arrange to run a session for you. Some of those will be face-to-face, as the fairs will be. Some of them will still be online. Okay. Another thing to make you aware of is that the career service is open to you, not just while you're here, but for 2 years after graduation, because you might need a little bit of help moving on. Sometimes, you know, it can take a wee bit of time sometimes. So bear that in mind, that you can still access most aspects of the service.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And speaking of kind of jobs and careers, we've had a few questions popping in about working while being a student. So, regarding like part-time jobs and what jobs are available close to campus, and also if there's any internship opportunities. So would you be able to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. We have lots of part-time jobs that we advertise. And actually the SRC also advertises part-time jobs, and those are fed into our Glasgow careers. So you'll see them all there, as are part-time jobs in the university. So you might actually get a job on campus. But there are lots of jobs outside as well, in the public sector, private sector. The obvious things that you might think of doing as a student, like working in a restaurant or working in a bar or a shop, or in a customer contact centre. These are all quite easy to get if you don't have a lot of experience, but also other things besides. A lot of the opportunities that we have won't be discipline specific. So, a lot of people can apply to them. That you won't necessarily get maybe that many discipline specific things. So, if you were looking for to work in a lab, there wouldn't be that many. There might still be some opportunities, but those sort of opportunities will probably come up as internships. And we do have an internship hub that we've been running for many years, where we get employers to provide bespoke internships for Glasgow students. So these internships are not open to students at Strathclyde or Caledonian or Edinburgh or anywhere else. They're created for our students, and that means that when you're applying for them, there might not be the higher numbers of applicants that they receive for their broad central programme. So that's a good thing to bear in mind. But also there's just some really fantastic opportunities. A lot of those internships will be for summer. And you might start seeing them early on in the academic year. You can apply for summer months and months before, but they'll be available all the way up till summer to apply to, and also some other times of year. And sometimes internships might be actually more of a part-time job that you just fit in around your studies. So there's quite a range. So yes, go in and start having a look as soon as you are able to access the system. I know you were asking about part-time jobs, but the other point I would make for postgraduate taught students who are here only for a year is to be aware, if you're thinking about applying for graduate schemes in the UK, a lot of those that are going to start next year, autumn 2023, are actually going to be open to apply to this autumn. So you might actually find yourself applying for jobs to start in a year's time, but very, very soon. So that might actually be something that you want to start looking at now. It does depend on the sector, but particularly a lot of the popular schemes, especially in finance, things like that, the closing dates could be as early as October or November or December. So start looking at that now if you are a master's student and thinking about wanting to get a graduate scheme.
Thank you so much for that. That's actually really, really great advice for all of our postgraduate students, is that even though that might feel like it's quite a while away, you're going to have to start taking those steps quite soon. And I think also it's just good to highlight that for any students who are worried about, can I work while studying? A lot of our students do have part-time jobs, and as long as you manage your time well, you can see that it's absolutely normal to do that. So if anybody's worried about that, please don't, because it's completely doable, and lots of our students do combine part-time work with their full-time studies. Kyle, if I can come back to you, just because we've got lots and lots of students joining us who are international students who are going to be joining us from all over the world. So could you just give them a little bit of an insight into what they can expect when they first arrive in Glasgow?
Yeah, absolutely. So Glasgow is famously an incredibly friendly city, and you'll notice that when you step foot. We are a very international campus. We've got students from all over the world joining us, and you can tell that. You can hear different languages and accents as you wander around our campus. So you're definitely not going to be alone as an international student coming to join us at the university. When you do arrive, we have an international welcome team. They are current international students who will be on our campus and ready to help you literally with any questions that you have. So they can be things around orientation or registration, but they can also be anything that's practical. So things like where to shop, opening a bank account, and just where to turn as an international student, because it can be a really daunting time arriving in a brand new city for the first time. On top of that, we've also got our International Welcome Week. The Welcome Week is actually happening mainly online this year. And it's from the 5th of September. It's basically a lot of different webinars. They cover everything from the student support that's available through to careers, as well as information on the city. So how to get about both the city and Scotland, the best places and things to do, what events might be on, and then also some of the next steps, so what you can expect throughout your academic year here at the university. One thing that I will point out is our international student support team. They will likely have helped, you'll have been in touch with them likely if you are an international student already with any questions about visas, but they are also on hand to help with any support that you need as an international student, be it around visas, getting back home, getting back to university during the vacations, what you're allowed to work, so the hours that you're allowed to work, or if you're bringing dependents or families, they can help with the likes of schooling as well. So if you're bringing any children, they can help you with that as well. So yeah, our international student support team, they are there yet again, based in that Fraser building that you'll see when you arrive on campus, to help our international students with anything, any specifics around being an international student here at the university.
Thank you so much, Kyle. That's brilliant. And that's a really good just insight into what you can expect when you first arrive in Glasgow. And speaking of which, Rena, would you be able to tell us what can students expect from the city of Glasgow? What are some of the things that they might want to do, or some of the places they might want to visit when they first arrive?
Yeah, of course. First of all, like Carl said, Glasgow is an amazingly welcoming and friendly city, so there's nothing to worry about. But personally, I think as well, Glasgow is an amazing place to be a student. There's just so many opportunities and things to do, and I'm convinced that like no matter what your interests are, you're able to find something interesting to do in the city. My personal top tips would be to explore Glasgow beyond the West End campus, although often it might feel like everything you need you can find around here, but that's still a good idea. Especially, I would encourage to explore some of Glasgow's great parks, including the Kelvin Crow Park and the Botanic Gardens near our main campus, but also, for example, Queen's Park and Glasgow Green. They're lovely spaces just to hang out and relax in. My other top tip would be to take advantage of Glasgow's great location for day trips, which I think was mentioned before as well. So, for example, Loch Lomond is only like a 40-minute train away, and that's a lovely way to spend a day and get out of the city. And great for forgetting all about your uni assignments and responsibilities if you need that once in a while. And lastly, I would encourage to keep an eye on events that are going on in Glasgow. Many of you have probably heard Glasgow's kind of reputation as having a very active music scene, and you can often find really good concerts or other shows for a really good price. So definitely keep that in mind.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for telling us about Glasgow. There really is so much to do. And I think one of the things that I really appreciate as a student, because I was a student at Glasgow, just never left, as a student at Glasgow, is how central it is and how easy it is to travel. There's really amazing rail links throughout the country, and we're really close to airports. So it is, don't forget that you can go beyond Glasgow and really explore Scotland and beyond while a student. And there's some really amazing places to visit and see. So I'm just going to open up this question to everyone. In terms of being a new student, it can be a really intimidating process just starting university journey and thinking about what is it going to be like, some of the concerns that our students might have. What advice would you give to a new student? What do you think is the thing that they want to know, or you would have wanted to know when you were starting your studies? So Rena, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm happy to go first. I think my first tip would be to engage with our Welcome Week events and the Freshers Week events organized by the other two unions, as this is a very unique time to learn all about student life in Glasgow. And my other top tip would be to never hesitate to reach out to us at the SRC and the university support services that were talked about earlier as well, or anyone else you see to be relevant in case you're struggling with something, especially in the beginning. We're always here to support you, and if you have a question or a concern, there's pretty much 100% chance that someone else feels the same way. So it's always better to reach out and ask for guidance. And just don't put too much pressure on yourself in the beginning. I know it's a very daunting experience starting university, and there's a lot of pressure to have an excellent time right away, and many of you will. But even if you don't, that's all good, and you'll still have an amazing time at university, I'm sure.
That is brilliant advice. Kyle, what about you? What advice would you give to someone who's about to start their journey at the University of Glasgow?
Yeah, absolutely. I think my best advice is to just get involved. There is loads going on. particularly in the first few weeks, with the Freshers Fair and Freshers Week and the events that are happening from the Students' Representative Council, as well as the other students' associations as well. It may well be your time to start something new, and this is a perfect opportunity to do that. There is loads going on when you first arrive, so really embrace it and get involved. In the short term, really make sure that you stick to your deadlines. That's a really important point that we're trying to get across today. The deadlines that are on our website are there for a really good reason, so make sure that you do not miss your latest enrolment dates. But yeah, once you arrive in Glasgow, just explore and really enjoy your time with us at the university.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Katrina, what about you? What advice would you give to someone who's a new student?
Well, I was just about to say the same thing, just have a really great time and look after your well-being. Okay, that's really important. So it's not just about studying. I mean, enjoy, your studies and, obviously work hard and get the most out of it. But you're not just, building up skills through that. You're also building up skills through the extracurricular activities and through interests and also through part-time work. And these are things that can help you just get a bit of a break from study and de-stress and, can be quite enjoyable. And they'll build up your confidence and you'll just, if you do things that you enjoy, then you'll just be a more positive person. In terms of being more employable, that's something that certainly stands out to employers. And they like to see a lot of activities on the CV at the end of your studies. But as Monica says, it is absolutely possible to do a part-time job and study at the same time. Lots of people manage it, and other things as well, other activities, interests that you're interested in doing that you think will just enrich your time at university. So, make the most of it.
No, that's fantastic. I think the best piece of advice I got was around kind of time management. And I know that sounds really boring, and you've all said really lovely, inspiring things about being social and doing lots of fun things. But I think because there's so many opportunities, sometimes it can be really overwhelming because you might be thinking about getting a part-time job and joining lots of societies and trying new subjects and trying new things. And you should absolutely do that. But I think the best way to kind of stay on top of it is just make sure you really manage your time. And the advice I got on the first day at Glasgow University, and it was advice I actually stuck to, and it was such a huge help, was that when you get all your deadlines and all the things that you have to do during term time, just get them in the diary first day. Like as soon as you get them, just get them in any diary, whether it's on your phone, on a paper planner, and then just work backwards. So like, okay, I need this much time to do the research for this essay. I need this much time for my seminars. And then that will show you exactly how much free time you have to enjoy all those other amazing opportunities. And it also means you can avoid that really horrible thing of trying to do an essay overnight, which I can promise you will do once. And it's so awful and horrible that you'll never want to do again. So no, for me, it's like, please just manage your time so that you can absolutely fully embrace that amazing university experience and all the amazing opportunities that you've heard about today. So I think that actually brings us to the end of today's Q&A. Thank you to everybody who's submitted your questions. We've really enjoyed answering them, and hopefully, you've found out everything that you wanted to know. Please remember that you can still contact us and we'll be in touch. So more information will be coming your way over the next few weeks. If you have any other questions that you'd want to ask, remember that we have our uni buddies. So these are current students, staff and alumni who are available to answer your questions at any point, so they can speak to you from firsthand experience. The recording of today's session will also be available here later. So if at any point you missed anything or you didn't quite catch something or you just want to watch it back, then remember you can refer to it at any point. And please just remember about those uni buddies. It's a great resource. So yeah, if you have any questions after today, please just direct them to our amazing uni buddies. They're a great group of people. And from all of us, thanks again for joining us and spending this time with us wherever you are in the world. And we look forward to welcoming you onto our campus in the next few weeks. Thank you so much.